Good afternoon. It's 5 o'clock and this is the February 18th edition of the Parks and Public Works Committee meeting. I'm Chairman Cotton. To my immediate right is Councilmember Dan Murphy, um, that's present today. We also have members of the administration, City Attorney Dina Burke, City Administrator Mike Chambliss, Mayor Jim Mayhew, our temporary administrative assistant Rebecca, and our uh, uh, assistant city clerk, legal assistant Robert Thrall. Um, we are missing one member of our committee this evening. I'm going to ask for excusing or a motion to excuse Councilmember Christensen from today's meeting.
So moved.
And I'll second that. And then we're going to move on to our today's agenda and ask for approval. However, I'm going to ask for approval of an amended version of this agenda. I'd like to add in below discussion items, heading of items for future discussion, of which we have many. So we're going to be adding that in. I'd like to make a motion to approve the amended agenda.
Second.
Okay, so we'll move that on forward. And then
Chair? Sorry, I'm not sure what you just amended. Could you clarify? There's
approval
going to be a
of
lot of items,
approval of today's agenda.
right?
We're adding, as we did in public safety last night, the item that had been deleted from the agenda, the items for future discussion.
Right. So which items are you asking to have added? Or are you just adding for a header,
We're adding for a header and then.
Well, that wasn't deleted, just so you know. We just didn't have any items under it.
But we do, actually, we have items that have been previously deleted from our agendas. So until we get those items added back in, we need to add in at least three things I can think of. One is the superintendent's report from the 5 divisions. They had all prepared for that already. So we definitely want to get them in here to provide information to our newest committee members. The other item was the also for the new committee members, information on water rights or introduction to water rights. We also have many ongoing projects and programs that we get recurring reports on. One I can certainly think of off the top of my head is the BP lift station for the hospital expansion. We have been waiting a long time for the upcoming status moving forward for the Sandy Cove Bank revetment project. And again, a number of other things that we get status reports on. So, yes, sir.
So, of course, the committee agendas, the council committee agendas are yours to make, and you can decide what to discuss. But staff will not be coming to present on most of those items until we have something to report. And so the important thing is, of course, you can put anything on the agenda, but I'm not sending staff to do massive reports when they need to be focused somewhere else. So we can talk about requests that you have for information from the.
Those would be my requests.
Okay, and
For
so
the
we can absolutely work together on that?
Yes, and because we did already have several of those topics that they were prepared to present, and what we've been waiting for is apparently your approval of the information that they're going to provide to us.
Yeah,
So
which won't be forthcoming. So you asked them for a 200-page presentation, and we're not going to do that until the council retreat.
what,
I'm not going to have that much staff time spent
what
away from the
200-page
things they need.
presentation are you talking about?
The presentation that they were putting together for you,
Which one?
the ones you just mentioned.
So that's all of those?
Yeah.
Some of these are just updates on, yes, we're on schedule. Some of these are, this is going out to bid now. So they're not 200-page presentations. But again, and updates as far as from the superintendents, there's updates on, we have some new people in the roles and they are updating on their projects and stuff. That's not going to be 200 pages.
I've seen the
Is
draft.
it, Deputy Director, 200 pages of presentation? Okay. Okay. Yes, sir.
Well, I'm not lying.
Oh,
And
no, I do,
so I've received the draft presentations, and just so you know, the ones, so I think they misunderstood what you want, because what I'm hearing from you is absolutely we should do. But could you maybe work with us to sort of tell us what you'd like to see, and then let us kind of find a way to come and get you that as soon as we're able to?
well, I'm having a hard time kind of understanding this as these presentations were all ready to go and then they got cut just days before the meeting. So,
They're presentations that were made a year ago to council. What we would be happy to do is arrange for you to rewatch the videos of those presentations, but they weren't new presentations.
oh, that's very interesting.
So I think they may not have understood what you wanted, because what I hear you saying now sounds like exactly the kind of thing I'm asking for as well. So maybe we could get together and find out what you guys are looking for in terms of information and find a way to get that to you as timely as we can.
I certainly will contact Director Hamlin and find out what it was that, because he's the one that brought it to me as far as what they were wanting to present.
Okay,
So-
so understand, please contact me. Director Hamlin works for me, not you. So please go through me.
He
Thank
works
you.
for all of us, and I'm not sure that, I totally understand. We need to keep the lines of communication open. The committee chairs need to understand what it is you're wanting as far as for our requests. We still, I know you're working on it, but we still have not gotten that yet. And so I find that you seem to be kind of micromanaging and getting way down deep in the weeds about everything that's going on. And I realize you have different priorities. And so I would certainly like to keep the lines of communication open, get those clear cut, uh, the process that you want, as far as, that's different from how we were doing it before. So I would certainly appreciate that as soon as possible.
So please contact me at your convenience, and let's set up a meeting and go through that. We can do by
We've
phone
been
or-
trying to do that, so let's absolutely do that. And I hadn't heard from you yet, and so I'm still hoping that in the next day or two, we will be able to do that.
Are you unsure? My email is jmayhew@snoqualmiewa.gov. Feel free to contact me anytime. I don't know what you're waiting for, but
You were gonna send me a text to set up a
I
time.
said yesterday I would do that.
You did.
I haven't done it yet.
You haven't.
That's right.
Okay.
I also don't work for you.
And I don't work for you. I
Right.
work for the people of
So let's find
Snoqualmie.
a way to work together, shall we?
Chair,
go.
can I, Jeff? I think this is a conversation maybe best taking place over email or a different time and place. I think we've discussed what the issues are here, and I would like to move forward with the agenda. I think there is valid information that we should receive, and I absolutely hear that. But I think we're going into a territory that we probably don't want to be in.
I appreciate your comments, council member. And yes, let's go move forward. And first item next on the agenda, unless the mayor has additional comments. Okay, yeah, it's actually public comment. And so at this time, we would provide time for residents to make public comment. I'm not seeing anybody that's not going to be making presentations here in the council chambers. So we will close public comment at this time. And then we're going to move on to approval of the minutes from dated February 3rd, 2026. Do I have a motion to approve that?
So moved.
I'll second that and we'll send forth the minutes as presented to us. Next item up is discussion, and this is going to be on the King Street Snoqualmie Parkway Railroad Crossing improvements.
Good evening, committee members and mayor. Philip Bennett, Deputy Director. We have a special guest to help us with this this evening, this presentation. So we have Richard Anderson from the Northwest Railway Museum, the Executive Director here. So Richard will open up our presentation, and then we'll move to Andrew Vining, Project Engineer, who will give the rest of it. Hind Ahmed, project engineer, developed this this presentation, but she's out of the country right now. So Andrew has been briefed and has stepped in for us. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Hello, Mr. Anderson.
Hello, thank you for the invitation. I reside during the day here at 9312 Stone Quarry Road at the Northwest Railway Museum, where I'm the executive director, and I'm happy to tell you about our crossing projects that we've been working on with your city staff here for several years now, with a grant award from the Washington State Department of Transportation.
Appreciate that.
We have, I think, just stating what most people know, but just for the sake of being complete here, museum here has owned the railway through town since 1977. We've operated it. It extends 6 miles from Snoqualmie Falls up to North Bend. And we have a Snoqualmie Parkway, which was built new to accommodate Snoqualmie Ridge in 1998. And it was funded by Weyerhaeuser Real Estate. We also have the King Street crossing here by the Snoqualmie Depot, which has been a railroad crossing, I think, since about 1891. The museum is the largest attraction here in East King County that isn't Snoqualmie Falls. We serve about 220,000 people a year total, and 65,000 of those people ride on the train. If we use the economic data that was developed by Arts Fund, it means that we're turning over between $5 and $8 million a year in the local economy, separate from the fees that we charge to use the museum services. And now, courtesy of King County, many visitors are welcomed for free to the museum to make it a more level playing field for everybody, regardless of income, to be able to participate. We've been funded, at least preliminarily, to do safety upgrades on King Street and Snoqualmie Parkway. The images we have up on the screen right now are illustrating what's at stake. This is the Snoqualmie Parkway on December 4th, 2020. And for the third time, a large semi-truck turned the corner too wide and knocked over the signals in the center median. And in the process, in this particular instance, all the logs came off the log truck and they landed on the vehicles in the direction of travel towards State Route 202. And unfortunately, there were some very serious injuries. And so the irony here is that we've had a lot of property damage and injuries, and it didn't even involve a train. So the objective here is to improve the safety of the crossing by using a better design, and also because the crossing is 28 years old. Did I do the math right? Yeah, 28 years old, upgrading the electronics and all of the other components to be new because they're worn out. And the surface itself is beginning to wear out. We have an opportunity to widen it up for a wider sidewalk as well for the trail. We've just completed doing this work in North Bend, so you have an advantage that North Bend Public Works Committee didn't have, is that you can see locally in the valley pretty much exactly what we're doing by just taking a short little drive up 202. This is Bendigo Boulevard, SR 202. We just put this in service last Friday. And this is cantilevers, pretty much, we call those cantilevers, the signals hanging up over the road, and that would allow us to remove the signals from the center median. It actually enhances safety because it puts flashing lights over each lane of travel and make sure that they're visible to everybody, even if there's a big semi truck next to you on the highway. And then we'd put in, one important enhancement I thought I'd mention. We just call it train detection. It's the ability to know that a train is coming to the crossing. We would intend to put in at both locations something called a predictor. And it looks at the train and it can calculate the speed and it makes sure that there's a appropriate warning time regardless of the speed of the train. And then if the train actually stops before the crossing, it resets and puts the gates up until the train starts moving again. So that if we stop for some reason to pick up, say, passengers at Snoqualmie Falls, the gates don't stay down. They'll go back up while we're stopped. So I think that'll be a huge enhancement for reducing, congestion, particularly on a busy summer day. King Street has the added issue as well that there's no legal safe way to go into the park. People have been walking across the tracks for basically the last 47 years. And what the project at King Street will do is add a full width sidewalk on the what we call the west side or north side, I guess by compass of the crossing, so that we've got a nice even level path across the crossing. And there'll be flashing lights only to warn of the approaching train because the view of the approaching train is blocked by the Snoqualmie Depot. And it'll also have that predictor circuit, so it'll turn the signal, stop the signals from flashing if the train stops moving. So I'll let Andrew give the rest of his presentation, but I did want to stress that this is a public safety project and it's funded with gas tax dollars. And it's for the benefit of the traveling public, both residents and visitors. There's a minor benefit to the museum in the sense that we get brand new steel rail in the middle of the crossing and we get newer equipment that's easier to maintain, well, at least for a few years. But the majority of the benefit of this is to improve safety for the public and a little bit of enhancement in getting rid of congestion from the train holding up the gates when it stops in the approach. And I'll still be here if you have any other questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson.
Hi, good afternoon. Andrew Vining, Project Engineer, Public Works. I typically work on utility projects, but today I'm a little off track working on the some road projects. So
Off track.
so I'm filling in for Hind, who has been managing this project as it relates to the Federal Highway Administration grant. Let me get my screen to advance here. Second. Okay. So as Richard was describing, this project is really driven safety improvement related. Where the scope entails the King Street improvements, which are right along SR 202 between Maple and Railroad along King Street there in front of the Railway Museum. That will include a new sidewalk on either side of King Street for pedestrian access, which currently does not exist. There will be new signage as well as ADA crossings. And then as part of it, we have a 12-inch water main that is due for replacement and runs currently underneath the railroad tracks. So we'll be planning to replace that. The city will take that on during the construction. And then on Snoqualmie Parkway, we'll also be widening the concrete sidewalk, provide some additional clearance for the crossing arm when it comes down, and upgrading the detection system that Richard had mentioned, and really modernizing that crossing to MUTCD standards. So the project is currently approaching 90% design. We should be receiving 90% design drawings this week. And then the next phase would be carrying it to 100% design, finalizing the bid documents, collecting bids, and then we're aiming for construction sometime between May and August of 2026. The project budget is estimated between 3 and 3.5 million currently. The grant we've received is for 2 million. This requires no match as long as the work is completed prior to September of 2026. There is a delta there between the 3 and 3.5 and what we've received. But based on other projects, the state has come forward and covered that delta following the receipt of bids.
Quick question. So, and maybe this is for you or for Richard, but the fact that the crossing itself is for a museum, it's not for like fast trains or commuter rail or freight rail. Does the design or the regulatory like framework for a railroad crossing differ in any way? Or is it like a train crossing is a train crossing, so we have to do it the way it would be if it were Amtrak or the
Yeah,
railway
I mean,
museum?
this might sound funny, but it's actually sincere. We're not as long as the BNSF, but we're just as wide.
Mhm.
And the trains are just as big. So it's, the standards are called out in a number of different documents. The most common one is the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices, but we also have something called ARIMA, American Railway Engineering and Maintenance of Way Association. Those are the engineering standards for railroads all across North America. And that's so that when the driving public comes up to a crossing, they have the same, they don't know that it's a museum, it's a railroad. So they have the same experience driving up to our track as they have driving up to the BNSF because they can't possibly know how fast the trains are going or who's running them.
Got it. That's helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Great question.
So I think moving forward, we're kind of transitioning to the construction phase. And we're really looking at that September 26th deadline to meet complete construction prior to then to realize the full benefit of the grant funding. So with that, we're getting discussions with contractors. We have a design engineer online as well, Jeff Schumas, who could field some questions, but the impacts would be a full closure at the King Street crossing, 7 to 14 days, which would, so we would basically be closing King Street between SR 202 and Maple. And then the Snoqualmie Parkway, shorter closure, but more impactful, would be a 3-day closure over a long weekend from 7 p.m. on a Thursday to 5 a.m. on a Monday. We don't have an exact time, but that closure is really needed to complete the work effectively and really try to create the least impacts by having it done all at once, as opposed to stretching out and having still some closures, but more spaced out. It can be harder to communicate and manage traffic then. And then there will be single lane closures in addition to that 3-day closure.
Engineer Vining. So some of the plans I saw, it looked like with the Parkway closure, traffic's going to detour through the Gateway lot. Is that correct?
So the emergency vehicle access would be provided through Gateway Park.
Okay.
And that would include utility vehicle, city vehicle access, and then emergency vehicles would go through the Gateway lot. But public access would be restricted, and they would need to be detouring other routes via I-90.
Oh, okay. So we're going to send them. Oh, okay. That
Yeah,
was kind of my question as far as who would be going where.
Yeah, and more information would come out on that as it approaches, but it would be a full closure of the parkway. We're not talking one side or the other.
Mhm.
So I've spoke to Hind about this earlier. I think they were looking at turnarounds at Bendigo Boulevard, just uphill from there.
Okay. So kind of like the flood change. Did you have a question, Mayor?
No, I think your questions are right on the most important point on this, and the thing that's going to be the biggest impact to our community, right? Those that pass through, but also our residents, which is in order to get, say, from Snoqualmie Ridge, yeah, you've seen it, yeah, Snoqualmie Ridge to downtown Snoqualmie, really you're gonna have to go all the way around and come down either 384th or, so it's a big detour. Um, Obviously going up and down 202 will be fine. You just won't
Right.
be able to go up the parkway, but more anyone trying to communicate between, say, downtown, Snoqualmie and the Ridge, either direction, it's a big detour for them.
And just to follow up on that, and since you're looking to have things completed by September, we're talking about during the Boeing Classic and during Snoqualmie Days and those, yes, sir.
And we'll just make sure this is true, but the key is, has to be authorized by September, right? Not completed, or does it need to be completed by September?
Slide said authorized.
Authorized,
Yeah.
I believe.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, my,
Mr. Anderson, to your understanding, I know we're looking for some particular dates, but, yeah, so, but obviously this is of tremendous importance of which dates. And so as we kind of get some clarity on that, we'll absolutely come back to you because obviously the impact to the community is going to be pretty substantial, and we're going to be, make sure we've all sort of weighed in, made sure we're happy with those dates.
and with the business folks as well. Yes.
Yeah,
Councilmember
and this is
Murphy.
something I'm sure you're already thinking about, but I think one of the lessons we learned with some of the detours related to the flood, related to the truck turnarounds. So making sure that we either communicate appropriately or have signage or further up the parkway so that we don't have trucks making unsafe or unsafe U-turns or turnarounds where we might not want them. So again, this is further down the line, but I'm just thinking of some of the flood learnings that might be applied here.
I thank you for that comment. I 100% agree. And I think as part of taking this from 90% to 100% will be making sure we incorporate those concerns into the bid documents.
Great.
So did want to go through a few of the reasons why the full closures are needed. While it does shorten the construction time, it also helps ensure that the tracks are fully aligned and the quality of the work is completed, and ensures the safety of the crews performing the work. I understand that they looked at alternatives such as doing partial closures with just a single day. Full closure increases the cost up to $30,000 per day for that added work time for those 7 additional work days. So my understanding is that they'll be proceeding with the full closure unless there's other comment on that.
Question from the mayor?
So again, Mr. Anderson, correct me if I'm wrong, but some of this stuff is kind of geeky cool, but the way they do this is they use laser sights, I believe. And so part of the point that was made on that slide of getting that alignment
Track
correct
alignment, yes.
is, so it's not just the cost. I mean, everything that was on that last slide is relevant and important, but especially that last point of the getting that alignment exactly right, really benefits from having that 3-day closure. So some of the sort of non-financial, but just outcome-based stuff is a big part of the story here. And Mr. Anderson, did I get that right?
I think so. The whole thing's a compound curve. We're on a grade, we're going vertical, and then we're also curving horizontally as well too. So the layout is kind of a big deal here, much more complicated than downtown North Bend, and in fact more complicated than North Bend Way. And that was a big deal too. If you've been on North Bend Way, it's 300 feet long, and we tore all that out and replaced that in 3 days as well. And they just shot a laser across that and laid it out and compacted it, and then built the track, and in that instance used a machine with the laser on it to line everything up.
Amazing.
Use a slightly different process in Snoqualmie Parkway, but the same concept.
Great, very cool.
just to wrap up, you had some questions about the Gateway Park. That would be the emergency access there on the left. That would be proposed, and then a possible detour route there on the right. I do understand that they're planning for those closures to occur prior to the school year, school schedule, so that the bus routes will not be impacted.
Oh, okay.
And with that, if you have any questions for, we have Richard as well as the design engineer that worked on this, Jeff Schumass, on the line.
Great. Thank you very much, Engineer Vining. Questions, sir?
Just a quick comment. Yeah, I think the fact that North Bend went first, I think is good in that like our community members, I think, have seen kind of what this is and what the value is, and having it kind of be completed there, I think is great. And it sounds like the kind of mitigation and plan and disruption to our residents will be quite minimal. I feel like 3 days, perhaps in the summer, working around some of the things that we have seems to be totally reasonable. So it's really appreciate the presentation. Very, very useful for us.
Absolutely. Mayor, any questions, concerns, comments?
No, I would just say thank you for, we're taking note. I think just the emphasis you put on, make sure we turn trucks around at the right place, coming down the, like, those are just outstanding points. We're just reinforcing that we're capturing those, and we have a good plan for that. The other thing I will just say is we'll need to have a really robust communication plan leading up to this to make sure that the community knows, and not just the community, but beyond, like the truckers. And so we're going to put a lot of thought into making sure that we try as best we can to get good communication around this.
I think we learned during the flood with notifying WashDOT, WSP, and Google Maps about what's going on in the world of Snoqualmie. Yeah.
It was Waze.
Oh,
Waze was killing us.
okay. All right. Well, you know who it is. So that's the main thing. All right. Any other comments, concerns? Any other topics to be brought up before we make a motion for adjournment? Yes, Mayor.
Maybe just on the topic of future committee meetings, just one thing to put in your minds, and obviously let us know if you want something different, but we are sort of thinking about focusing on pavement management and bringing that to you in the near future, sort of talking about what are our pavement plans for the coming year, where are we going to focus, and kind of what's going on in that regard, and make sure that you're aware and that's consistent with your expectation as well. So that's kind of the next big thing that we're thinking right now, but obviously we'll have more conversations about that, but just wanted to put that on your radar.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, I'll second that, and we will adjourn at 5:33. Thank you.